Today we're in Omaha, Nebraska for the final stop on the spring tour. Welcome to Maplewood Lanes. It's the championship round finals of the Omaha Open. Hello everyone, I'm Jan Schmidt, and at my side once again is Fred Borden. Fred, the term high scoring, well, it would be an understatement this week.
Yes, Jan, we're in for some fireworks here this evening. As you know, all 5 of these ladies averaged 220 plus during competition here this week. We've had 10 300 games, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we had one here this evening.
Wouldn't surprise me either. One of the ladies rolled 2 of those 10 300 games. It's our number 5 qualifier, Kim Kennedy.
Yes, and in talking to her last night, she's contemplating retirement. I'm sure she would like to have another victory before this year is over. Let's see if she can do it here this evening.
Well, let's skip up to our number 3 qualifier. I'm sure she'd like to stop her. She loves this center. She's made 3 of the 4 telecasts here. It's DiRupo.
Yes, I've said this before. I love her heart when she plays, and also her brain. She plays very intelligent. She used 2 different wrist aids this week. She used 3 different hand actions during competition to keep up with the changing lane conditions.
Well, the lady who ended up qualifying second is Barrett. Fred, she was number 4 going into last night, averaged 250 to get to that number 2 position.
This lady can light it up. Last night, coming down the stretch, she shot 278, 279, 300 to make it to the telecast here today.
And that leaves 2 more ladies, and I'll tell you, Fred, they're racking up the airtime. In our number 4 position, it's Giani-Block, making 4 of the last 6 telecasts. And who else would be appropriate? In our number 1 spot, it's Wendy McPherson-Papanos, making her 5th consecutive TV show.
Yes, you've heard of Laverne and Shirley. Well, we have Wendy and Carol. They've just been on the telecast nearly every week, both of them. They're the number 1 and number 2 players in the world today, and let's see if they get a chance to play for the title here before the telecast is complete.
Well, we'll find out in just a moment. We'll see who makes it through our first match. It's going to be Carol Giani-Block against Kim Kennedy. There's the handshake, and they're ready to start the first match. Carol Giani-Block has elected to start the match, therefore she will finish last. 11 years professional at the young age of 29. Nice opening shot.
Yeah, there's something we saw all week, Jan, is pin action. You know, the lane surface wasn't all that easy, but the pin action here is phenomenal. The pins just go everywhere. They dance down there.
That's if you had the right roll and the right angle into the pocket.
Yeah, as always.
Good opening shot by Kim. I think a little inside target there.
Yeah, probably laid it a little short, but that probably is something that is her best asset, is getting it off her hand clean. She really has a clean release with a nice heavy ball roll.
Joyce Terrell, Kim's mother, in the audience here. Kim said she always bowls well when her mom's here.
She's won every time her mother's been to the telecast, and she want to say hello to her father, Owen.
He wishes he could be here. He's out here quite a bit with her also. There's a beauty.
Well, that was 10 flush. That was high flush in the pocket. What a great shot. I just can't even conceive this lady's ready to hang it up yet. But you know, her and Kevin talk, they're going to have a family, so we certainly understand. But she's had a great career. Been on Team USA 2 years. She's won 4 titles out here on tour.
Hold it. Carol's wearing a mic, and if y'all heard her, she said, hold it. And good shot, Carol.
That's what happens when your ball gets out away from your side, and usually that'll happen if you turn the thumb in early. If you get the thumb turned in toward the ankle, the arm pops out, and the ball goes left of target through the nose.
There's one of those averages you spoke about. Carol averaged 225.
Can you imagine that? That's 675 every 3-game series.
Carol flattens it out to shoot that fair. You know, it was interesting as you spoke to different players. People were shooting 300 and 400 over for 8-game blocks, and yet you'd come out another block and you could hit the pocket, but you couldn't carry. So it was real critical, and people would say, how are they shooting that? And then they'd come up the next block and shoot the same thing. Scores all even right now.
I think ball speed this week, Jan, was very critical. And if you was a little fast, you could hang the corners. Had to match the ball speed to the lane surface.
In fact, Carol Giani-Block said that was one of her keys, to stay slow.
Allow the ball to roll in the midsection of the lane so that it could return on the back end. When it got down the back end, it could have that little better angle of entry to knock out the corners.
Kim's first championship round appearance this year, but this is only our 6th tournament this year. We're packed full in the summer and fall. A lot of events coming up.
Well, there shows she left the 4-pin the last time on this lane, but it was a different type of a 4-pin. The first time it was a little left of the target. That time she let it out around, and that ball really turned back toward the pocket. That was a great shot, really.
Oh, my.
Wow. To miss a 1-pin spare, you just won't see that very often at this caliber. We've got 5 champions here today. Look at her. She's devastated. And how did I ever do that?
And it was an even match, and that just put her down by 12 pins.
You know what happens is you get up there once in a while and you don't focus totally. You're still thinking about the 4-pin. Now, I'm not saying she did this, but a lot of us do that. And you get up there and before it's over, you missed a 1-pin spare because you didn't go through the routine.
Oh, jumps right back. Now she has a 7-pin, left side of the lane again.
Made a high-quality shot there. She's got to feel good about that, but watch her now. She'll really take her time. She'll collect herself. She works with sports psychologists. She's a trained, great athlete. She will not allow that 1 spare to catapult into something more than that.
Covers it easily, and unfortunately because of a missed spare by Kim Kennedy, Carol Giani-Block now has the lead through 3 frames by just 12 pins. Don't go away. Carol Giani-Block up in the 4th frame with a 12-pin lead. She could have increased it to 22. High on the nose. I wonder if lane 26 has a little more hook.
Boy, it sure looks like it, doesn't it? Kim was 4-pin, 4-pin. She laid that down. Boy, it really took off a little early. It looked like it hooked early. It didn't hook any harder, but instead of skidding on down to the 40, 45-foot mark, it looked like it started hooking at 35-foot, a little 5 or 6 foot sooner.
Well, Carol said wow right there, so I'm sure she was surprised. And she backs it up a little bit at the 6-10, almost a little too much.
See how well, though, she killed that shot, keeping that thumb up and not allowing that hand to rotate on that 6-10. The way you miss that is you chop that 6 off the 10 by throwing too much hook.
12-pin lead for Carol Giani-Block. You saw that open there. Kim Kennedy missed a 4-pin in the 3rd frame, a rare error. If you've just joined us, we're at Maplewood Lanes in Omaha, Nebraska. For the finals of the Omaha Open, you're watching Carol Giani-Block, and she's bowling against Kim Kennedy. Light strike. Is that maybe a little bit of adjustment off the other lane?
That's 3 strikes on the left lane, 2 spares on the right lane. She goes out around the shot here. Watch this shot. Just out around. Gets it out to the hook spot. Now here it comes. It's making the move. Catches light. Throws them pins off the wall. There you go. Hit them thin and watch them spin.
I talked to Kim Kennedy about what point she felt like her bowling career changed to professional potential.
Well, I think, I went to college a fairly, average player, about 180, and I just kept improving year after year, and I think my coaching there with Pat Rossler and both Terry Gregory, they kind of developed all of the, potential that I had at that point, and then through Team USA, I kind of went through a bunch of different steps before I came out on tour, and I think collectively they all prepared me for the kind of early success that I had out here.
There you have it. A lot of avenues for the players nowadays to fine-tune their skills before they come out on the professional bowlers tour.
And believe me, this lady works hard at it. She really stays in shape. She has a physical therapist, Karen Sargent. She wanted to thank her for all the hard work. But look at this ball. Comes in light. The 6 goes, just slides off the deck, falls flat. Ball didn't quite turn the corner hard enough to knock the 10 out. When you leave the 10, that means your ball straightened out going into the pin triangle.
No problem with that spare. We won't see a mistake like that again. That was a rare mistake for Kim Kennedy.
She's really bowling a very good game. You know, she's 4-pin strike, 4-pin, blow up 7 strike, soft 10. She's hit the pocket 6 shots, and she's 12 under.
And that's exactly what I mean as we both out there this week say, you know, hey, I don't think the shot's really that easy, because if you got caught up in a game where you didn't carry, it's difficult to see how people could shoot those big games.
See what happened there. Carol moved deeper. She moved about 3 boards with her feet to the left. Now she picked up a little oil to the left, and the ball just scooted down the lane, never got into a roll where she went high the last frame. Now she went deeper. You can see she's closer to the 3rd arrow. Now right here, the ball just sailed right past the pocket, leaving the bucket with the 7-pin.
And this can be a tough spare.
Wow.
Beautiful cover. That's unfortunately very easy to leave the 5-pin or the 7-pin.
Yeah, that was just a perfect cover. Wasn't threw the ball straight, just put it right on line, just threw it within an inch of where she was looking.
Through 6 frames, Carol Giani-Block with a 12-pin lead. Still anybody's match, but not the high scores we expected. But I think the lanes are going to change as they progress here bowling, and we may see some huge scores yet. They're experiencing some carry down. They were on the lanes, though, for an hour before, but they're trying a lot of different things at that point in time.
Yeah, she threw the ball a little wider to the hook point on that lane in the first 3 frames that she was on it. That one seemed like it was a little left of target, and it stayed in the oil longer. And that's what makes for higher scoring conditions in an oil left, hook spot right.
Converts the spare. Carol Giani-Block has the lead by just 8 pins with 3 frames left. Stay with us. Kim Kennedy, 7th frame, trailing by 8 pins.
Anybody's match here.
And again, the 4-pin on that right lane. That's 3 times she's left the 4-pin over there.
Mother's saying, what do we have to do here?
Saying, wait a minute, Kim, I'm here. It's me.
That's right.
No problem. See that smile? She's applauding herself on that spare.
She is kicking herself a little at the same time, I think.
Sure she is. Right now it's a 9-pin difference.
Well, you know, she is very trained in her mind, and she knows that she got up there and she blanked out a little bit. That's not indicative of the way she plays the game, and that's why she's so hurt for herself.
Oh. Now that was a great shot.
Well, we'll say it again. She's bowling a heck of a game here. She's hit the pocket with every shot, and she's still only 8 pins down. Here comes the ball into the pocket. Carry down must be a little more today because that ball bounces a little right. See it bounce right? Therefore, don't take the 6 into the 10.
I'm sure she's having to call on all of her mental experience right now. She works with sports psychologist Keith McConnell. She wanted to thank him, and right now she's probably using everything he's taught her about patience and attitude, really.
Yeah, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. We talk about that a lot with sports psychologists. Focus and concentration, mindset, self-talk. What's that little voice saying inside? Talk yourself into it. Talk yourself into it. Don't talk yourself out of it.
Appears they have a little bit of over-under. Carol was coming high, and when she made a move for that, now she's light every shot.
Here she goes. She's got a beautiful 5-step delivery, a big arm swing. She gets down at the foul line, but she loses the ball just a little bit here at the bottom of the swing. Just loses it a little bit. You can see she grabbed and wristed it through instead of letting it roll. Well, she let that one roll, though, didn't she? That's not an easy spare when your ball's not reacting right. That's why the great ones are the great ones.
Well, that was one of her keys this week, as I just mentioned earlier, was staying slow. She said, you see she has a 7-pin lead. She said that she needs to stay slow. If she gets a little bit fast, she actually, her timing gets earlier, and she loses the ball, as you just mentioned. It might have just happened there. Doesn't get anything on it.
I think she got a little soft, that one shot that hooked up a little bit high, and it scared her a little bit to get that soft. There, she's let it roll. There she let it roll. What a great shot that was. Set up that 9th frame, one to go home on. Let's see now if Kim can get up and answer the challenge here and set one up. See, she just laid this and clean right off her hand with a nice heavy roll, and the arm come through free. See it rolling? See it rolling? Here it is. It just tilts right over, flush in the pocket, right over that 17th and a half board.
Kim trails by 7. She really needs to set a strike up right here. And after 3-4 pins on that lane,
made a little bump left, and the ball didn't react, so that's telling us something, isn't it? And we see that in league play all the time. It's oil carry down. The back ends have tightened up. Now, we have 5 players that practice for a long time, all playing in the same area, instead of playing different areas of the lane, so that oil carry down is very heavy down there right now.
Another unfortunate error there. Actually, not an error. I mean, it's very difficult. That happens.
She needs to gather her thoughts here. She needs to throw 2 here in the 10th to force Carol Giannotti to throw a mark in the 10th frame. She's got to force her to get a mark. Looks like she moved a little right and went a little straighter up the lane that time.
Yeah, she's definitely not seeing the ball reaction that she had all week.
So much for our prediction at the opening of the show. Huh? Shame on us. We put a little cloud over their head, huh?
Well, things will change fast. The lanes may start to open up a little bit.
Isn't that what happens in sport? She can shoot 181 if she strikes here in the 9th, in her second shot here in the 10th, and then the 12th shot.
So she needs all of them, really, to force her to mark. And pin count's important, because if she strikes here, if Carol Giani-Block would just get 9 out, she would tie. So she needs to fill all the pins here to hope for a tie.
See what happens, though, to the champions. Here she is. She's had 2 strikes the whole game. She has to throw a double. She knows it. She gets up in the 10th frame on a lane that she's had very little success on, and she's throwing a double here. And let's see if she can fill it up with 10.
Okay. Carol Giani-Block now needs a marked thread. I have to ask this question. Why can they muster it up in the 10th? Where was that before? Yeah. Why does that happen?
Yeah, that's a thing that happens to the great players in their mind. They go mind over matter. They sort of block out, and they just allow, I got to hit the pocket. Let me just line up, and it becomes an instinctual thing, a subconscious thing.
And she hits light, but they're all down. It's a mark. It's all she needs. It is bowling out there. I'll often ask myself, and I'm sure many of the players do it, you know, I can do that in the 10th. Couldn't I have done that before that? But it's also a level of play that you probably can't play at for 48 games.
Well, good point. You just wear yourself out trying to play. There was a little test shot. She was...
Kim Kennedy finishing up in 5th, $2,500.
Well, she threw a little test shot there. She whipped it out a little bit earlier, hit the dry spot, and went through the nose. Now, that really didn't help her any mentally, did it? She went light, light, light. She just carried a light strike.
Beautiful spare for Carol Giani-Block. She defeats Kim Kennedy 201 to 181. She climbs the ladder to face Marianne DiRupo right after this. Back for our second match here at the Omaha Open. Carol Giani-Block is taking on Marianne DiRupo. Marianne has a lot of crowd support here. Being on the telecast 3 or 4 years, you kind of develop that. Good lead breakdown, 4 strikes on lane 25. Only 1 on 26.
You can see she sent that ball farther right, hooked it a little harder back to the pocket. That was a little better shot. She made a major change there. Now she'll bump her feet another board left, but continue to arc the ball out around that carry down and try to create an angle, a little bigger angle to the pocket, so she misses that carry down area at the 55-foot mark.
Nice and straight at the spare. Now she shot that from the left side of the lane.
Again, she didn't know for sure, is it going to take off and hook on me, or is it going to slide? I'll just move left and left and just put it on mine and throw it right at it.
Marianne, a pro 5 years, 30 years old. Asking it to hold for a minute there, and it did.
So much for all those 300s that we won't have one this game, will we?
Marianne had a title in 3 consecutive years, 93, 94, 95, and did not win a title last year. So she really wants to get back on track of winning.
She's made 3 shows this year, and I think her confidence is high. She just hasn't been able to win. Test our patience sometimes when it comes to winning. Jan, you just got to keep playing the game. As you can see, she's putting her wrist aid back on. She took it off to shoot the spare. That's a good lesson for a lot of us at home. The wrist aids firm your wrist up, but when you want to make the ball go a little straighter, you take it off, set it down, shoot the 10-pin, relax your wrist, and then put it back on for your strike ball.
228 average. But if you're going to do that, Fred, practice that at home, because when you take it off, it feels very funny. It's an odd feeling. Don't do it in the middle of your league. Practice it first.
Good point. It's not for everybody, is it?
She went high, asking it to hold again. Marianne's also mic'd, so pay attention. She may be able to commentate for us, Fred. We can sit back and enjoy the show.
Just watch this from this vantage point we have here. It was surprised to her that ball went high, though. She was in between the second and third arrow, and that ball grabbed the front part of the lane, started hooking early. It's not hooking on the back ends, but it's hooking early when you move in.
Get to, baby.
Oh, she saw that coming.
Sure did. She said, get 2, baby, and she knew it. Just flipped on her and chopped that 6 right off the 10.
Carol defeated Marianne during match play. She bowled her twice. She would have pulled her in position round then. 258 to 248, 205 to 203. Close matches. And these players look very confused. The scores this week, you didn't see this. You were able to get to the hole.
Yes. A little bit of hold left and a hook spot right, and you get a certain picture in your mind, and it's very hard to change that picture just in a half of a game. Now, Carol's had a little bit more time, and that time she elected to try to go straighter up the lane, so she'll find it. These gals will find it. They're just way too good.
Carol got to this match by defeating Kim Kennedy in the first match, 201 to 181.
When you're not lined up, you keep changing, you keep working, you keep moving a little left, you move a little right, you cup your wrist a little bit, you throw it a little harder, you throw it a little slower, you lay it down a little quicker, you loft it out on the lane a little bit. When you find the combination, then light them up.
Once again, Carol has a 12-pin lead by virtue of an open by her opponent. So she's kind of drawing the brakes here. She's breaking up splits right now.
All of a sudden, we just fill frames, huh? Filling frames is pretty good. She look at her, she's shaking her head. She's saying, wow, I can't believe this. Same thing happens on our game that happens in golf, and we don't get enough credit, Jan. You know, the wind starts blowing. Everybody knows it and everybody sees it. But when the weather changes, okay, and maybe a new can of oil, the oil changes, the way the oil moves on the lane surface, but it's the invisible game, so you have to watch your ball roll. And that gives you the answer, but we never get the credit for how difficult this game is. That's a little pet peeve of mine, that we don't get the credit of how great these players really are.
For a minute, I was thinking maybe this pair was one of the tougher pairs, and Carolyn Doran Ballard doing stats must have read my mind, because she put up Marianne's average of 230.
She bumped it in a little bit left. She came through that shot a little straighter with more of a forward roll instead of a sideways spin. Watch this. Now she shifts forward, moves that right foot, big swing. Real good knee bend. Look at that left arm out there for balance and athleticism. Coming back as the right arm goes through, right leg stretched out, and that arm just comes right up through. Look at that balance on one leg. Oh, that's awful good.
She's a strong player. Down by 10 pins right now through 3. She can make it all even if she strikes. they're just not able to get the angle. When the heads start hooking, it's harder to get a good angle into the pocket to carry.
Yeah, a lot of times if your ball hooks early, I always have a little slang saying, if the ball gets at 55 foot, stick a fork in it, it's finished. It's rolling out, and it straightens out, goes through the pocket too straight, and leaves that pesky 10 pin.
Covers the 10 pin with no problem. Right now, through 3.5 frames, Giani-Block leads by 10 pins. More from the Omaha Open when we return. Competition continued for a couple of frames while we were away. Giani-Block left a 10-pin and a 7-pin spared on both. Marianne DiRupo just tripped a 4-pin for a strike. She trails by 8 pins. Could take the lead with this shot. And a lot of 10 pins left on lane 25.
She went strike, 10 pin, strike, 10 pin. But, you know, the good sign is she's hit the pocket 4 times in a row. Now, Carol's hit the pocket twice in a row. 6 straight shots in the pocket, so I think they're finally getting them figured out. Now I think it comes down to who can carry the corner pins.
Ooh, that was a little close.
That'll make your heart pop a little bit when it goes down there. She got a wry smile on her face. Yeah.
No titles from the number 4 seed for Carol Giannotti. She told us, though, that she likes being 4th or 5th because she said she thinks she'll be a little looser. Nothing to lose. She can go for it.
Put it on the 1-3 again. Just didn't quite get that ball to turn over down here today. I think that's really surprising, these ladies, that carry down is that heavy with that little bit of practice they had. It's all in that one area right in front of the pocket. So now they're trying to figure out how can they get that ball to turn over properly.
Nice cover on the spare. Now, Fred, would you suggest doing that with equipment or speed or hand position or any of the above?
Yes, any of the 4 adjustments. You could say, well, I'm going to take a ball, but don't hook, and I'm going to move the right. I'm going to hit the carry down and just let it straighten out right in the pocket. So I'll move farther right, and I'll break my wrist down and throw a straighter shot to the pocket, or move to the left and cup your wrist up, slow it down, and let it go around. Either or, not the intermediate shot right now. Just... Ooh, that was an excellent shot. She moved a little left. She put a little more wrist into that. You could see she's trying to, I'm going to make this ball come back to the pocket. She caught that ball real good for another solid 10.
She said, you know, a little bit weak. She knew she wanted to finish just a little harder than that. But first things first, they're getting lined up to the pocket. Now they'll figure out how to carry. Covers the spare. Right now it's a close one, Fred. Carol Giannotti-Block leads by just 6 pins. The conclusion of match 2 when we come back. Marianne DiRupo stepping up in the 7th frame. She trails by 6 pins. She's shell and hold almost every shot she makes.
Tripped that 4 out, left that 9 pin.
Having fun now.
She said, having fun now, huh? You know, she was the 1992 Ebonite Rookie of the Year. She's first team All-American at WIBC in '95. This gal is a player. And in the 8th, 9th, and 10th, she's been hitting the pocket here. I think we're going to start seeing some strikes finally that we predicted at the top of the show.
Well, it was 10 pins, and now it's 9 pins, so she's making an adjustment there. Covers it easily. I talked to Marianne about why she thinks she's so successful here at Maplewood Lanes.
I think a lot of it has to do with the surface of the lanes and with my ball speed. The ball speed helps a lot. I also think it has a lot to do with the people here. I have a lot of friends here that I met throughout the years, and the support is definitely a help when the long days and the long blocks add up.
You know, in fact, Jan, one young man brought her favorite soft drink. She wanted a decaffeinated. She didn't want any caffeine, so he went out and brought a cooler every day of her favorite drink for her. I thought that was something for a young man to have that kind of presence in life.
Pretty amazing. Oh. No. Wow.
We got some lead pins out there, boy.
Good point. If any of you at home have ever bowled heavy wood, it's hard to knock them down.
All of a sudden, they look a little bit heavy, don't they?
No problem shooting the spares, and it appears we're going to have a lot of spares at this point in time. You know, it's not the high scoring we were looking for, but the matches are close.
You know what? The score is just the product of the pin action when you get to the triangle, but you've got to focus up and do whatever it takes to win if you're going to play on the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour.
I know people at home watching this are saying, you know, I see those hits all the time. Why don't they carry? It's hard to answer.
It really is. But really what's happening, Jen, is the ball's hydroplaning. When it gets into the back end, there's a light film of oil there, and then it bleeds out. As it's going through the pins, it's never really grabbing the lane surface. It's hydroplaning through the pin deck. It's not making the good turn to knock those corners down.
You know, what would they do at that point?
Well, I'd look for someone to move deeper inside and come out with a ball that's probably sanded, something that'll grab the oil and move left. Because if you throw it out around the pocket, it snaps left. If you get a little inside, so you need to get deeper inside and go with a sanded bowling ball that'll grab the lane surface.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. 7-pin lead here for Carol Giani-Block, right, because they can't make a move because then it's going to go too hard.
See, the crowd knows it too. They've had strikes all week like this, all week long. We've had great pin action, and here's the pin action we saw all week. Just hit them thin, kick it off the wall. These pins are live. It's just, we got to get a little liver ball roll. Look at it. Like this. Field goal. Pins across the nation weigh 3 pounds 8 ounces, so it's not the pin weight so much, it's the pin action. Carry. It's the pin action of the pins hitting the kickbacks or the sideboards. When they hit those sideboards and they dance, you can carry a lot of strikes. Here it is again. She's right around that third arrow. The ball's just getting just a little long right there. Just get it a little long. The 6 gets trapped in the channel and don't carry the 10 out.
The pin weights do vary a little bit. Also, if you bowled, when I mentioned heavy wood, I was referring to some of those tournaments where they put in especially heavy pins that are not regulation as a tournament, and then it's really interesting to try to carry.
A great Peterson Classic. Well, you could leave the whole back row there. You could throw one in the pocket and leave all kinds of strange leads because of the pin action.
Carol Giannotti is leading by 8 pins right now. Marianne's up. She has to set something up. She really needs to strike out here in the 10th.
She really does to add the pressure. And Carol's got that 9th frame strike she threw. That was a big strike to set one up to give her her own destiny in her hand. She's not struck on this lane yet. Let's see if she can do it here in the 10th. You heard her holler, hook up. She said, hook up. And the ball just didn't make the move back to the pocket. And these gals have bowled here all week long, and their eye has been trained to see it hook back to the pocket. They just can't believe that ball is coming up that soft when it gets down to the 60-foot mark.
Yeah, it's an extremely different reaction than they saw. She was talking to herself, telling herself to just spare. You know, you never know. She can shoot 183 here if she strikes. It would force Carol Giannotti-Block to mark.
Right. Good count here is very important.
Never know.
You hear what she just said. You never know.
Finishes up with 183, and boy, was it a really nice 183 game.
Oh, boy. 9-8 strike, 9 strike, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9 strike. What else can you do?
And she did it again. She needed a mark last match, struck.
Moved a little deeper, and she got softer on that shot. And you see how much softer she rolled that ball. That was the key that you talked about a little earlier. That last night she said the key to her game this week was keep it soft. Gotten in deeper now. She moved left. She's got that little heavier wrist. She's cupping the ball a little more, and she's a little softer speed, so she's making that ball arc, and now it's flipping at the pocket. So she has the front end oil to hold the ball from hooking early, and then she has the softer speed to allow it to hook on the back ends.
Marianne finished up in fourth, $2,800. Now Carol's going to have an advantage here because she has figured out how to, well, almost figured out, definitely figured out how to carry anyway.
Stay with us because coming up, I'll bring you a very special guest. Sit tight. Carol Giani-Block still here, still eating up the airtime here. Going to take on Leanne Barrett
in our semifinal match.
While we were away, we saw the practice shots. Leanne looks like she's going to be hard to beat unless Carol figures something out, because I don't think 2-0 or 2-team will win this match. Here we go. We're putting ourselves on the hook again.
Oh, let's not say we. I believe you're the one who said it. Okay.
Okay, I'll hang in there with that. Oh,
hey, you called it. You know what you're doing. You know, well, you're just on today because I want to congratulate you and your wife, Sue. It's your 26th anniversary today. You want to say something to her?
Yeah. Well, we'll be home in the morning, honey. Happy anniversary at 26. We've been together 29 years. 29 more. Solid 4-pin.
Lane breakdown was up there pretty quick. It was pretty even, 5 and 4, 5 strikes left lane 4 the right. So she struck more on the right lane this last game because it was 4 and 1 going into that game.
Exactly. See how she shoots that spare? That's a good lesson for people at home. Move to the left and go down the left side of the lane, and you're crossing less boards, so you hit oil dry. And if you have any problems at all with those left-hand spares, just move over and shoot them down the 5th arrow down the left-hand side.
But that's really if you can throw it straight. See, she defeated in match play. But, you know, because oftentimes we tell people, hey, give yourself the whole lane to shoot at it. If they're hooking at it, they really don't want to be over there on the left, do they?
Exactly. If the lanes are hooking too hard.
Well, looks like maybe she did figure something out.
4-pin strike. Let's see if Leanne. Now, Leanne has a little more wrist than anybody else on the telecast today. She hooks the ball a little bit more, so she's a little farther left on the approach. She's playing a little deeper on the lane, and then she's arcing it out and going around that little carry-down spot, or she can get the ball to flip at the pocket a little stronger than the other players.
229 average, Fred, and that is for 48 games. Oh, there's that pin action.
Just that flip at the pocket, got it back. I thought that ball was out the window, hit a little carry down and scooted, and then come in late, but boy, did it knock him out of there.
You know, you called this early on during the warm-ups. You said, hey, you know, I've been looking. I think Leanne has the best shot to the pocket tonight.
Yeah, she looked like she could carry the corners out better. I thought everybody would hit the pocket. I just thought she was going to carry a little bit better.
Here comes the strikes we've been seeing all week.
Yeah. You can see the different angle of entry, though, on her shot. That ball's going out, arcing and then turning and really flipping back. And, you know, she really has a heavy, good ball roll. She wanted to thank Tony Hall, player services director, who drilled her up a couple pieces of equipment this week.
A little bit high. You know, and that was probably in an effort, knowing she has to start carrying now. She can't just go 10-pin spare anymore.
Old Deadeye, she just nailed that 10-pin square in the face with that straight ball. Now let's see if she can set another one up. She's got to talked herself now. She's got to talk herself into getting back in this match. She needs, and she knows she's going to need a string. She hasn't been throwing that many strikes, so, boy, you really have to get that mind inside talking to yourself.
Well, the first two matches, she was up by 12 after 2 frames because of an error by her opponent. This time, her opponent threw 3 strikes at her. And there she gets to trip the 10-pin out. Right now, Carol Giani-Block is trailing by 20 pins to Leanne Barrett. We're a third of the way through our semifinal match. See who wins when we come back. We're through 6 frames now. We had to bowl through 2.5 frames because of time. Leanne Barrett spared in the 4th and struck in the 5th and 6th. Carol Giani-Block left yet another 10-pin in the 5th, spared it, and struck in the 6th. Leanne is now stepping up in the 7th frame. 29-pin lead for Leanne Barrett right now. Can increase it to 39 with another strike.
What she averaged this week, 229. 0.67. Wow, that's a lot of pins.
She knew it. Apparently she was taking a look at the rack. Took a minute. Didn't really like it, but did not ask for a re-rack. She gets 2 re-racks on television. We get 5 during the week. 2 only on TV per game.
Wrist action coming through that ball. She stayed down. Look at it. Look at it. Oh, yeah. Darn it. Yeah, I knew I didn't like that shot when I let it go.
Knew she didn't like the rack, I think. She was thinking she'd carry that.
I think you're probably right, Jan, because she threw that shot pretty darn good, I thought. Well, this is a big shot here for Carol. She got a strike working in the 6th. She had a high game of 289 this week, low game of 148. She knows how to strike. She better do one right here to get back in this match.
Hey, there it is. Finally a strike on lane 26. She's had 3 strikes this game on lane 25 and 3 9-pin counts on 26 until now.
Here she just laid it down and rolled a little softer. Now this ball grabs the lane right here. Instead of going on out to the right, it grabbed, turned up, and went flush, high flush in the pocket.
Carol trails by 18 pins. She can take that down to just 8 pins with 1 more strike.
She struck every time this game on this left lane. Let's see if she can do it again. Got a little fast. There's that speed. She needed that strike.
Got that in the oil.
Look here, just comes light off the wall. Well, that thing almost wanted to kick backwards. That would have been an unbelievable break to kick that 2-pin backwards.
Well, Leanne Barrett is leading by 19 pins. Stepping up in the 8th frame. 24 and 8. Look at the match play. I mean, 32 games now, 30 pins per win. So 24 games, she got additional 30 pins each time.
720 bonus pins. Wow, she threw that ball on out to about the 4 or 5 board, got it out a little too far right, and it couldn't hook that hard today. Watch how far out to the right this ball goes. She lost it a little off her hand. I guess all the way out there to about 5. It makes a late break and just can't get back. Comes in the back door, leaves that crazy split.
2, 4, 8, 10. Now, the way she hooks the ball, she could pick this up.
It's a very strong snapping action on the back end. You hit the 2 lead pins, and the 4 pin will carry out the 8. Didn't hook
She
it quite
gave
hard
it a
enough.
run. Well, she's going to want to let the thought of that go. And I talked to her about her keys to her mental game.
I'd have to say my biggest key that I use a lot is visualization. I drive from stop to stop quite often, so I think about bowling a lot as I'm driving because I have a lot of time on the road. And I try and picture my arm swing and I use a lot of visualization like past tournaments and when I've done well, and I try to just get in a little focus, you know, and I use that a lot.
That's a great tip, Fred. You want to use your positives and remember those and let go of the negatives. You see she did it right there.
Came right back through that shot as good as you can throw it after throwing it open. But yes, you talk yourself into it through picturing the good pictures, remembering the good moments, remembering when you win, drawing on those experiences, and then you calm down and start thinking like a champion again.
And that's kind of some of the things Carol Giani-Block was telling us, that right now her confidence is so high that it's so much easier for her really to bowl out there, because success breeds success.
Yeah, and her and Wendy rooming together, and they're throwing us back and forth. They have this routine. Every morning when they get up, they do a certain thing. Let's see if she can do her thing here. Ooh, little dice-o-matic shot there. Just opened that rack right up for that roll.
Okay, it's just a 3-pin match. Carol Giani-Block trailing by 3. We're through 9 frames. Both players have a strike in the 9th. Therefore, whatever Carol does, basically, Leanne is going to have to match.
Get it right down to the 10th frame. It's amazing how many times in our sport it comes right down to that last shot to see who can win this match.
Mixer.
She's elected to go ahead. I'll just play it and let it roll. See if I can carry him out of here. I'm going to do one thing. When you need a strike, there's one key. You better hit the pocket.
That's a good point. Don't do anything crazy. Hit the pocket.
That's it. Sometimes we just throw the high fastball right at him and just boom. But on this condition, throw the high fastball and it'll just slide right by the pocket. So you've got to lay it and roll it and try to roll it to the pocket. That one and roll it. Just set it right up. Put that carry down and just squirt it forward instead of turning.
Yeah, that hit the hole. She was a little left of her target there.
She may have learned something right there. If she can win this match, she might just be hard to beat this last match. Her eyes just saw something. She said, hey, I got a little shot in there.
Almost a fade back, fallback type shot.
A little fallback, yes.
Finishes up with a score of 228. Leanne Barrett's going to have to throw 2 strikes and 7 pins to win this match.
You got to give Carol a lot of credit there. You know, she ground out a 2-0, and then she ground out a 2-10, and then come up and shoot 228. She hit the box. She went 9 strike, 9 strike, 9 strike, 9, 3 strikes, and then finished with 9. So that was a pretty darn good game right there she just threw. It's 2 strikes and 7 to win. She just saw in the graphics.
Oh, blows the rack. I think she's thinking about keeping her arm in. She said her father, Dan Barrett, told her that she needs to keep her elbow in. He saw it on a men's telecast, and she was very thankful that he still stays in touch and helps her out. Her father's ill right now and needing a lung transplant. He's at the University of California.
Here is the key shot of the week for this young lady right here. Wow, what a roll she put on that one. She just couldn't roll it any heavier. Got her thumb out clean at the bottom, just laid it and rolled it, and just ripped that pin. Watch this ball flip over right here. Flips and knocks that 5 right into the 7. Look at that head pin come off the wall. Look at this, down in there low. What a great knee bend this woman has. Yes, get out of there.
7 pins.
7 for the win.
And she gets it. Leanne Barrett defeats Carol Giani-Block. If you want to see where your favorite player finished, stay with us for a recap of the other top finishers. It's our championship match here at the Omaha Open. Maplewood Lanes, Leanne Barrett versus Wendy McPherson-Papanos.
Yeah, and both of these ladies this week averaged 229. Both of them were 24-8 in match play. They had the best match play record, so it's probably right they're here playing for the title.
I mean, it's pretty even for Leanne, really.
4 strikes on 25, 5 on 26.
Opens with a big shot. You mentioned how close these two players were. It came right down to the 10th frame, the last shot. Wendy needed a double to stay in first place. She struck on her first shot, and struck on her second. They say it wasn't the best shot, but it worked, and it got her here to the top seed position.
She knows how to knock them down.
Ooh, tough opening shot for Wendy.
She left the split in the first frame. That's the best place. You're going to have an open, have it early, get it out of the way, get the jitters going. You know, one game this week, she had 80 in the fifth and finished the game off and shot 230.
So she went all the way off the sheet.
Yes, struck from the 6th through the 3 and the 10th. So she knows how to strike them up. She will not let one frame bother her.
Mac keeps coming back. That'd be Wendy McPherson-Papanos, where she qualified in each of the tournaments this year and where she finished. 2 firsts you see in there.
You know, Terre Haute coming down the stretch, she shot 115 with 2 games left to play to blow herself out of the show, or she'd have made all 6 shows.
That is amazing. Right now, she's having a little difficulty out here on lanes 25 and 26 at Maplewood. Coming high with both shots.
Wouldn't surprise me to see her move it deeper, a little deeper left with her feet. Get her feet a little farther left and open the shot up and allow it to hook.
If you're wondering if 5 shows in a row is a record, it is not. 6 in a row by these 3 ladies, Lisa Wagner, Nikki Giannoulias, and Carol Giannotti. Good work by our stats people.
They just keep feeding us that information. We love it.
Doran Ballard and Lisa Sorrentioni.
Well, this shot here could loosen up her swing even more, and she looks pretty loose out there. She shoots through the 3 and the 10ths. Now this is 4 in a row, and here she goes. So she can take a commanding lead here early in this match. That was a loose swing roll right there, Jan. You know the feeling. You know what I'm talking about. And you get that real loose shoulder and the loose hand, and it gets off the bottom real clean with that nice roll right back to the pocket.
Well, she has to be pretty confident right now. She, as you said earlier, she is the player who has the best carry right now.
Yeah, she defeated the Wendy twice, 252 to 231, and then 278 to 245 games. So. Well, 10 pin was there again. It was a shot. She come around it a little early. See her make that little gesture with her hand off the top of the ball. When your hand turns early, it gets off the top. Then you drop, you don't get the good heavy roll instead of stand down underneath and behind the ball.
Leanne's a player who doesn't really like short swings, she said. This was just a 3-week swing here. She feels like she needs to gain momentum, and right now she thinks she's just starting to, and we're going to break for 3 weeks. But
drilled up a couple new bowling balls. She's getting real confident, a lot of confidence with these 2 balls that she drilled this week, so that's something that happens each week, isn't it?
good look at Jeremy Sonnenfeld and his fiancée, Jordan Leisure. Oh, did she find out she was on camera there?
I think she did, yes. Little stage right there.
It's nice that he's out here. What? Just amazing. A 900, I just...
Unbelievable. He's such a nice young man, I'll tell you. He works a lot with Kevin Dornberger, his coach, back home, and mental game, equipment. He plays anywhere from the first board all the way into the 6th arrow. He's an accomplished player for being so young.
Just 20 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
He has a career ahead of him. Isn't it smart, though? You know, and this week going to the shopping mall, getting something for my wife for the anniversary, I saw a thing that says, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Now, that was clever by Derek Bach. That was a clever statement we saw in one of the stores there. And this young man knows education is the foremost thing in his mind. Let's get that first. We'll worry about throwing strikes later.
He's going to continue bowling throughout his college career. There's a lot of scholarship money out there, Fred. I know you at your center have the American Scholarship Tournament going on. It just started this past Saturday.
Exactly. The great Dick Weber's there to throw out the first shot, and Parker Bone and Petey Weber. And it's for young people. We're going to give away nearly $100,000 of scholarship funds.
Okay, Wendy's been high 3 shots in a row. Seems she made an adjustment there. And now coming light. It looks like the same thing we saw all the players, except Leanne, really, go through when they first came out onto the lanes.
And Leanne's down in a little bit lower. She risks a little bit more. She can get it out, and that's why her nickname is the Boomer. She can boom it back to the pocket. That looks like the shot of the day.
Well, she's going to cover her spares and hang in, keep making adjustments, and try to find something.
There's a lot of frames left. We've seen funny things happen in our sport. All of a sudden, Leanne throws a bad one. We hope she don't. We don't want to throw that black cloud over her, but a lot of frames left yet.
90 and 91 Player of the Year. Wendy was Player and Bowler of the Year in 96. Are both these ladies familiar with having great years?
Won the Robbie's Award in 1990. Look at this ball roll. Watch this ball. Arc out to the right. Now, see, she can get it back. The other players are having a hard time getting it to turn the corner. She gets it back and carries those off the wall.
32-pin lead right now for Leanne Barrett through 4 frames. And, Fred, this is one of the times when we can't say that, hey, you know, it doesn't matter how you release the ball, because right now it's important. Leanne is to be able to create area and create carry that the other players can't.
She's got her wrist in a strong position at the bottom, real strong, tough position. And when you do that, that hangs the fingers in the ball longer.
Whoa!
What a shot that was, huh?
That's the slowest I've seen a rack come down all week here.
Watch this now. Watch this swing. She creeps up on him. She got soft speed. Watch this wrist action. See that wrist just snap all the way through. Stays right down on the shot. Watch that one pin come off the wall, hits, and then twirls and knocks that nasty little 9 down.
For a big double.
That was a huge strike there with her already lead of 22. Puts her up 32 pins. And now we've even increased that lead now.
Right, she's up 43 pins.
Yeah. She's got to be feeling pretty good about herself right at this moment. We can't say enough good things about Wendy, though. Her attitude as a champion, the way she carries herself, the way she treats people. I'll tell you, she is a smart player. She watches a lot of other people's ball roll, makes adjustments before she even gets up. If she's going to bowl on another pair, sometimes she'll sneak over and watch a player that she knows and watches their ball roll and see if they made an adjustment. She'll make an adjustment before she throws her first frame sometime.
Right, she'll glance over if she sees a player was lined up on the pair they're coming off of, and the pair she's going to, they left a washout. She's going to move off that. Well, she's really, right now, finding her way to the pocket, and we've seen this, as I mentioned. Now she's going to have to find a way to carry. I just don't know if she's going to have time.
This young lady threw her first sanctioned 300 game when she was 14 years old.
Amazing. Oh, an error there. Well, will Leanne Barrett hang on? She's got a commanding lead. Stay with us. Leanne Barrett right now up in the 6th frame. Has a commanding lead. And just continues to strike.
Tripping those 4s, circling the ball to the pocket. This looks like it's her tournament to win. What's this I hear, Jen, you lead the WIBC all time, 765, 90,000 bowlers. You shot 765.
For singles, and that is leading. But now that'll tell you exactly what a 900 is.
Well, yeah, take 135 pins off. Isn't that unbelievable? Can you imagine that?
A 4-pin, but really right now Leanne just wants to keep hitting the pocket, filling her frames.
9s are strikes. Make the spares. Those 1-pin spares are real easy. But you know what happens? If we notice today, we had a couple of 1-pin spare misses. When your ball reaction is missing the pocket, then you start getting confused on how much your ball's hooking. Pretty soon you miss a spare here or there.
And that appears to be what's been happening out there. Gail Ramsey, that's our tournament director's wife. Happy 50th birthday. June 2nd is her 50th birthday. She handles our Adopt-A-Pro program for the Players Association. And she's out here most weeks, also sometimes sells souvenirs for the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour. Boy, you know, Wendy talked about how last night how all of her moves are right and guesses are right. Adopt-A-Pro if you're interested. Call 817-529-6272.
Or right, box 34, Bayers, Texas 76357.
We appreciate your support. It goes to help the Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour Players Association. As I was saying, Wendy was saying all of her choices have been right, or guesses are right, or ball choices are right, or adjustments have been good. If they weren't, it'll only take about 2 frames. Tonight, all that seems to be going away for her this one game.
Yeah, well, you know, anything can happen in one game. I'm sure she's not going to allow it to bother her. She's made all these shows. She's having a very successful run. She'll just put it behind her and go on about her business. Ooh, there's a little love tap on that pen.
You know, it's so hard, though. I mean, to bowl so good all week. And you come out here, and I know it's hard for people to understand at home. Here's a good look. Look how good she did bowl. 3, 5, 3, 2, 2, 1. Those are her positions throughout the week by round. And people view this telecast and say, you know, how could she have bowled all that? But they don't often understand how much different the condition is out there right now.
Exactly. You said a mouthful right there, Jan. When the condition changes, and that will happen under the lights. The lights, a lot of times, what it does, it flattens the oil out. Oil has air bubbles in them, but when we put hot lights on them, it pops the air bubbles and flattens the oil out like the Dead Sea. And therefore, we get a little different condition on television than they played on all week long. You know what we'd like to say, Jen, when I interrupted you there rudely a second ago, is the people out there, the audience that are listening, come out and bowl in the Pro-Ams. You can get a lot of good information from our pros. They don't mind giving instruction during the Pro-Am. They're there for you to help you. And obviously, they want to bowl good, but they want to help you with your game. So sign up for those Pro-Ams and come out and play with these great players.
Yeah, we have a great time. That's one of the greatest parts about being on tour, is getting to meet so many different people as you travel around the country. And that's really when you have a chance to talk to them.
We are a number of titles as of... We have now 16 titles. This will be number 17.
Yeah, she has 3 already from the number 2 spot.
Yeah, again, getting back to that Pro-Am thing, what other sport can you go out and play with the best in the world? Face-to-face and sit on the bench and talk to them between shots. What a way to learn information.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And Wendy finally strikes all right. The crowd is happy to see that for her. You know, as we travel around, and we talked about Marianne having all the crowd support here, she gains that through her Pro-Ams, and she stays around and talks to the people. I have several people I've met, and actually they've invited me. I stay at their homes now if we go there. You know, Winnie and Larry Himmel in Alexandria, and Steve and Carm Donato in Delaware, and they keep inviting me back, and it's a wonderful thing to get to know people like that.
Really is. You know, and then you play in the Pro-Ams, you also get a bowling ball, most of these Pro-Ams, and in some cases, the entry fee is less than the price of a ball. So you get a bowling ball, you get to play with the best in the world, you get a chance to win the money, plus you get a chance to get instructions and have a good time. Wow. Sign me up, Jen. Where do I sign up?
And you'll get to see Fred Borden, because he's going to come bowl our Pro-Ams now. Okay, Wendy's finishing out. Finishes in second place, $5,000. Great performance. What a year for this lady so far, especially coming off of being player and bowler of the year. Sometimes that pressure is hard to take the next year out. It's not affecting her.
She's got to be wore out. She's got to be a very tired lady, making that many telecasts in a row, bowling that many match plays. But, you know, she also gets some great incentive money from the bowling ball companies. And these ladies, the incentive is a big part of the income, not only the prize fund, but in some cases they get some real nice incentive when they make telecasts.
That's a good point, Fred. That's money that's not seen always in our finishing position.
Thank God for those ball companies, huh?
Now Leanne with a fine performance.
She can have a duplicate here, huh? She had 228. She had $9,000 here. Well, the people here are awful friendly. They've got a great group coming in there every day. Here she goes. There's no 228, 228. She says, no, I'm shooting 238. That was quite a game. She strikes here. She throws 9 strikes, 3 9-pin counts. Hit the pocket every time. There went our 300, Jan. That was the one. We just
that
didn't
was
carry
it.
it.
Yep.
Boy, I'll tell you, what a surprise that the scores were a little lower today.
Bonus money was given out this week, $100 to every lady that rolled a 300 game. That was courtesy of Ted Bear and the Omaha Lancers. We appreciate that.
Look at that.
Well, Leanne Barrett is the champion of the Omaha Open for 1997. We'll be back with her presentation of her award.
And there she is, the winner of the 1997 Omaha Open, Leanne Barrett. Congratulations. And here to present a trophy, John Badiato, the co-proprietor here at Maplewood Lane.
Thank you very much. Leanne, I'd like to present you this crystal bowl here. And if you come back next year and win, I'll have another one just like it. Okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Then I'll put it back.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Good.
Okay, and the other co-proprietor, Giani-Block, with the check. Excuse me.
There you go.
Congratulations. Use this for your new home.
Thank you.
This will go to great use for my new house. I've recently moved back to California, and I'm saving it. It's going in the bank.
You made him look easy. How'd you do it?
I had a great ball reaction. Our player services, Tony Hall, drilled me this ball last night, and it's wonderful. I can't thank him enough. It worked great last night and great tonight. And I'd just like to thank everybody here in Omaha.
Congratulations once again to Leanne Barrett, the newest champion.
Look for Fred Gordon and myself in 3 weeks when the Samstown Ladies Pro Bowlers Tour Summer Swing starts in Memphis, Tennessee. Check your local listings for the times in your area. For Fred Gordon, I'm Jan Schmidt. Thanks for watching our spring telecast. This has been a presentation of Strike 10 Entertainment.
Virginia at the AMF Hanover Lanes for the AMF Gold Cup. Hello everyone, I'm Leandra Riley and welcome to the PWBA. With 19 titles among them, Dana Miller-Mackey and Anne-Marie Dugan are familiar visitors to your television screen, but our other 3 qualifiers share 12 titles. In fact, all 5 of our stepladder finalists have won one event in 1998. Now let me bring in my broadcast partner, Jan Schmidt, who was just recently inducted into the Illinois Women's State Hall of Fame. Congratulations on that. Let's get to our stepladder, though. Number 5 qualifier, Michelle Feldman. Her title came in Louisville, Kentucky.
Michelle is just happy to be here after leading most of the week. She barely hung on to make the show last night, but I think she's happy to be bowling Carolyn Doran-Ballard. Last time they met on TV, the big 300 game.
And that was right here in the state of Virginia. How exciting it was. Well, you mentioned Carolyn Doran-Ballard. Her last title came in Orlando, Florida, and this is her 7th TV appearance of '98.
Most of those 7 shows, however, came just recently. She's really come on strong. She's made 4 of the last 5 telecasts.
Now, there's more to Carolyn's story than meets the eye, and for that, we go to our second analyst on this telecast, 30-time titleist Lisa Wagner, who's with Carolyn Doran-Ballard right now.
Carolyn, you've been battling an enemy lately, the 7-10 split. It's the bookends of the pin deck. It's already cost you at least 2 titles. Last week it appeared against Kim Kennedy, and just last night it haunted you once again when you moved from 3rd to 4th in the last game of the tournament. Do you think it's just plain bad luck, or is it a problem with the shot you're making?
Well, it's funny you say haunting with Halloween coming up, but I think it's a little bit of both. There's sometimes I felt like I made an okay shot and left it, and I was like, all right, well, it could have been better. I know last week and last night I felt like I threw it really good and still left it. So hopefully a good friend of mine who I used to room with a long time ago told me that if I just hang in there, eventually all the luck will turn around, and you never know, I could go win, win, win.
That's right. Good luck tonight, Carolyn.
You bet. Thanks.
All right, let's hope that 7-10 bug doesn't bite this evening. Let's continue up the ladder. Our number 3 qualifier is Anne-Marie Dugan. Her last victory, Huntsville, Alabama.
Anne-Marie has made 3 consecutive telecasts. She's back on top of her game. She proved it more than ever this week. She played a tighter line to the pocket, something that is not her A game, and she did it very well.
Our number 2 qualifier is the first of 2 lefties, Dee Davidson, whose last title came in Fairview Heights, Illinois.
Dee's really having a great year. It's her 6th show this year. That's the best ever in her career, and that despite the fact that she missed the last 3 events with a back injury.
So let's hope she gets healthy and stays healthy. And our number 1 qualifier is Dana Miller-Mackey. Her last title, Jacksonville, Florida.
That was early this year. She opened the year big. She made 4 of the first 8 shows. Then a wrist injury hindered her performance, but she changed some pitches, relaxed the wrist, and she's back up on top.
All right, she'll have to adopt the old wait-and-see attitude as the top qualifier because Michelle Feldman is ready to take on Carolyn Doran-Ballard in our opening match. And you see Carolyn Doran-Ballard and Michelle Feldman shaking hands. Carolyn Doran-Ballard is the number 4 qualifier, so she said, Michelle, guess what? You're bowling first.
Wants Michelle to get that opening shot out there.
Could history repeat itself? Nice way to start things off here at AMF Hanover Lanes. North Richland Hills, Texas is home for this woman now. She grew up in New Jersey, but when she married Del Ballard Jr., they moved to Texas.
Well, personally, I think she'll be out for revenge in this match. What do you think, Lise?
Absolutely. Jan, I agree with you completely.
Come on! Coming up a little bit high, a little left to target on that shot. But it's makeable.
And it's the first frame, too. Let's get those jitters out of the way. Carolyn just wants to make good shots on the show. That's what she's talked about all week.
And she marks in the first frame, stays close to Feldman. Crossing over, our television pair this day are lanes 17 and 18. Very colorful house here at AMF Hanover Lanes. Lots of pink and blue banners hanging above the lanes.
It's a very roomy center. There's 2 sides to this house, 28 lanes on one side, 28 lanes on the other side with a big snack bar in between. It's really nice.
It's like a split house instead of a very long house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was the 7 the first time, and it was the 10 the second time. Now here you can see where the crowd is. That is the snack area right behind them, and further behind them are the other 28 lanes that you mentioned.
That was a good aggressive shot by Carolyn. 6-pin flew around the 10.
You're going to see here that she's going to change balls. She's using a spare ball, cut down the hook, go straight at it.
And again, she marks as Michelle Feldman steps up on lane 18.
Did Michelle's grandparents make it here? Have you seen them? She said they were driving up. They are here. Lisa's nodding her head. Gary and Linda Feldman drove 9 hours to get here to watch this match.
From Skaneateles, New York. Well, there goes the 300 game.
Okay, I want to see Carolyn's face. Is she breathing? Sure.
And she goes straight at the 10, clears it. Earlier, Jan Schmidt spoke with both Carolyn and Michelle about what happens if Michelle bowls a perfect 300 game again.
Carolyn is going to be a mammoth person because I'm going to look at her coming off the approach, and she's going to be 6'5", probably about 300 pounds, and I'm just going to duck because a Rosenbeck's probably going to fly at me.
Well, she doesn't have to worry about that now. Gee, do you think she deliberately missed that shot earlier so that she wouldn't have to worry about a 6'5" Carolyn?
Maybe, yeah.
At this point, I think any 6 or 7 bagger thrown at Carolyn, I'd be ducking. Because it seems like lately so many people have strung strikes at her.
You know, Lisa, as much as I want to make a show, I don't think I want to make it if I have to bowl against her. I wouldn't want to throw strikes, and I don't want to lose, so, you know.
2 spares.
Come on, yes, that's right.
You see the X cards flying. Those are for Carolyn Doran-Ballard. That is her first strike in this opening match. She is a number 4 qualifier. This is her 4th show of this swing, her 7th show of the year.
You know, I really wasn't sure if Carolyn was going to get to this show. It was very close last night, and she was kind of hanging around 8th, 9th position. She threw a 6 count on a fill ball against Cheryl Daniels, and it made her, Cheryl had the possibility to go ahead and go 3 strikes to tie her, and that made Carolyn so angry. She came back and shot 279, 259, 215 the next 3 to get herself right in.
Oh, yeah! 2 in a row for Carolyn Doran Ballard. And like I said, we are happy to see that this is a very, very competitive match here at Hanover Lanes. The AMF Gold Cup is brought to you by AMF Bowling Worldwide, the largest owners and operators of bowling centers in the world and one of the leading makers of bowling products. AMF always means fun. And by Budweiser and Bud Light, the official beers of bowling. And by MasterCard. There are some things in life money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. A couple of our bowlers received some honors earlier. Bev Ortner Award for the 1997-98 National High Series went to Jackie Miscavige. She's on the right of your screen. Her 3-game series was 877 in Van Wert, Ohio. And then Pearl Keller, it was announced, would be inducted into the WIBC Hall of Fame. In fact, Pearl Keller is standing by with our Lisa Wagner.
Congratulations, Pearl. I know you are the newest inductee to the WIBC Hall of Fame. How's it feel?
Well, I'm very pleased and honored, of course, to be elected into the WIBC Hall of Fame, especially since it's the greatest recognition any woman involved in bowling can receive.
Congratulations, Pearl. We're here to draw the first bowling center first. Then we're going to draw the name a little bit later to the Bud Frame Hall of Fame tournament. Pearl, pull me out a winner. And the bowling center is, how ironic, the Cherry Bowl from Rockford, Illinois. We'll be getting to the name shortly. Back to the action.
All right, and that Bud Frame means that a winner from that bowling center will win a trip to the Bowling Museum and Bowling Hall of Fame, and we'll get a chance to compete for some money. But right now, let's look at Michelle Feldman, who, it's a 1-pin ball game. 2 strikes for her and a spare. Sums up her first 3 matches and now some trouble.
Crossing over almost to the Berkman side, leaving the 310. I talked to Michelle before the match. She led until yesterday. She said she had on the lanes what she had yesterday, which was not a good condition for her. She was going to change her surfaces and see if she could get something to play on today.
Her 3rd television appearance of the year. She felt she bowled lucky in the last game of the evening last night, as she waits now for a re-rack, which you're allowed to do. They're trying to...
Well, actually, the pin's not... The rack came down and swept her spare, so they have to respot it. She had left the 310, the rack swept it and put a full rack of pins up, so they have to put the 310 back up, and she'll shoot it now.
Is that nerve-wracking when that happens?
You know, not really. You do get used to it. It is initially, because you know, oh my God, I have to wait again, but you get used to it. It happens quite often.
Didn't phase her one bit. She marks again, this time in the 4th frame. Trails now by 9 as she crosses over.
You mentioned her being lucky. You're right. It was not a pretty game in position round. As I said, she fell from 1st to 5th. She shot 226, but did carry a couple of Berklins, a couple of trip 2 pins. So she was just trying to hang on, but she did it with poise and style.
Berklin again, but it got the job done. 2 spares, 2 strikes. That's how Carolyn Doran Ballard opened this match. She's the number 4 qualifier in our stepladder finals. This is her 7th appearance of the year. She does have 1 title. That came in Orlando.
Well, she's now up by 9 pins, working on a double. She can go take the lead to 19 with a strike here.
Overall for the career, she has 4 titles to her name. She's happy. All right, we asked the question, Michelle Feldman, what happens if she bowled a 300 game? So we had to put it to Carolyn Doran Ballard.
Well, it won't be anything new. I won't be surprised because everybody does on TV, number one. Number two, hopefully I'll be keeping up with her. But if I'm way out of it by the 9th frame by like 50 or 60 pins, I'm just going to pack up my balls and leave in the 9th and 10th frame and let her finish on her own.
Tongue firmly implanted in cheek when she made those comments.
She was teasing Michelle last night, saying, I'm just going to let her finish out. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to encourage her. I'm not going to help her.
300, not a factor.
One more. Pull up.
She needed it to move over just one more. It did.
Didn't throw that one too good. Lisa, what do you think?
She got a little bit left of her target, I believe.
And there's some conditioner there, so she bumped up against it and the ball did not finish. Leaving the 2-5 here, she's going to use her spare ball, try to cover both pins with the ball. There's someone's cell phone.
And you could see how that was distracting. Lisa Wagner, this is her release from behind.
Well, as we said before, I think she did get a little bit left of target, and you see the ball just skidding about good 5-7 feet longer than it has been. It did not pick up a roll.
Back to live action.
Two.
Good break on that spare.
17 pins now the difference between Feldman and Doran Ballard. Her average in 1998, just under 210. Nice smooth release. You came back over to that Kirkland side. That wow. She's snapping back.
Yeah, coming high. She's going with a little more surface than she did before. A little duller ball, trying to tame down the hook maybe a bit, get a little earlier roll, but it's not helping right now. This is exactly what we saw last night. Had a lot of hook, and then if she tried to get it way right, which she usually can do, it didn't come back.
And you can see the frustration on her face.
10 and 8 in match play. We might point out this week only 18 players went to the finals. Only 18 games of match play, not only 24.
She went straight at it and only picked off the 10. And you can see the frustration building on her face. She just has to collect herself.
Well, she tried to flatten it out, and the ball just slid, missing the 6-pin.
And the deficit climbs to 29. So what is she saying to herself now, Jan?
She's saying, I don't have a clue. This is what she did last night. You can see that 29-pin deficit. When she finished the 7th game, she sat down and said to herself, I don't have a clue. Don't know where to throw, don't know what to do.
Well, she figured it out real quick right there in the 7th frame. And we will be back with the continuation of our first match between Michelle Feldman and Carolyn Doran Ballard. But first, these messages.
Welcome back to the AMF Gold Cup in Richmond, Virginia. We're here to pick the first name for the Bud Frame Hall of Fame tournament and a trip to St. Louis, Missouri. And Pearl has picked 7. Looks like David Perkefile Jr. David Perkefile Jr. You're going to St. Louis.
Back to bowling. And his name was drawn from the Cherry Bowl in Rockford, Illinois, which is where he submitted his entry. In the 5th frame, I believe he had to bowl a strike. He did that, and then his name went into the hopper, and the hopper came here, and now it's heard on ESPN.
That's right, and if you haven't signed up yet for the Bud Frame Hall of Fame, you have the rest of the month of October. Sign up. Your name will go into this bin, and there'll be drawings next week and at the Samstown Invitational.
You are looking at Carolyn Doran Ballard right now as she leads Michelle Feldman by 29 pins. She is ready to bowl in the 7th. Her maximum score, should she go off the page, 257. Get a spare in the
Come on! Yes, baby!
That was a beautiful shot. You could see the ball roll off her hand. Ball picked up very early. Carolyn holds the ball about chest high. Her knees are bent. Watch her release here. Gets the ball well out on the lane, and look at the finish position. Strong follow through, and look at the ball. Take a turn, good rotation, and drives hard into the pocket. Very strong game. Not the most powerful release, but she does the same thing over and over.
Come on, come on. Yes!
Very consistent bowler, passing in
there.
all the events she entered in 1997. Continuing with that success in 1998. There you see the maximum score, 257 for Carolyn Doran Ballard. But now it is Michelle Feldman's turn. Her maximum score is 228. She trails now by 39.
Well, Michelle said last night that she thought Carolyn would probably try to get revenge, and she was ready for it, expecting it.
I was very, very happy. Yes! Now she has a strike in the 8th to go with it. 2 in a row.
Michelle's trying to make something happen out there. She has a 4-step approach. Watch this backswing. Very high over the top of her head. Look at how her wrist flattens out. Now she'll cup it again as she starts to come through. Look at the cupped wrist. This is how she generates all the revolution on the ball, the turn and the power.
And all that lively pin action. We should add that she led in this tournament in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds. Oh boy, switched right over to number 10 and took it out, Lisa.
I absolutely love those shots. That is the shot that can get a bowler pumped up more than anything in bowling.
So it's a turkey and sit down for Michelle Feldman as Carolyn Doran steps up with a 2-bagger and a 19-pin advantage.
Well, not only can those shots pump you up, but it sometimes can affect your opponent, although Carolyn just pays attention to what she needs to do.
Oh, yeah.
It was not a real aggressive shot. Didn't really catch that ball. She's been staying real firm behind the ball. She's been turning the ball more than I've ever seen her do it before. That ball off her hand, a little bit weak. Didn't quite catch it. The shot was pretty weak off her hand. It's not rotating. See, it never really turned over. She just didn't get a good release.
Oh, bonus there. And you are looking at Carolyn Doran Ballard's husband, Del Ballard Jr. 13 pro titles for him. And he is acting as our scorekeeper as I put my hand on his shoulder. Thank you, Del, for keeping score for us here in the booth. He said anytime. I think you heard him.
Carolyn's going to need a double here in the 10th to shut out Michelle Feldman. Michelle can shoot 228 if she goes out off the sheet.
2 strikes and 6 pins puts this match out of reach. But Carolyn Doran Ballard needs to get those 2 strikes first.
Carolyn took a re-rack here. Allowed 2.
I think that's as much to take a little bit of time and settle herself down after that last shot, because she knows that she did not throw it good.
Mm-hmm.
You mean you've done that, Lisa?
Oh boy, well, I'm not going to tell anybody, but I've stalled many times.
There you see the maximum score, 233 for Carolyn, should she go off the page.
Come on. Hit it!
Oh, got it. Number 7 collapsed after she shouted, "Hit it."
I didn't know if that was going to carry.
Now, this is a close match. Her maximum score is 228. 233 was the number 4, Carolyn Doran Ballard.
You're going to see this ball pick up a good solid roll with the pins, sending the 5 into the 4, and a big cluster over at the 7. Look at the reaction. She knows she needed it. 1 more and 6 pins for the win.
Well, you know how she feels about 7 anyway, and 10 for that matter, collectively or alone.
I think this shot right here goes a long way to set the tone for her evening if she goes on and wins this match.
Needs a strike here.
Come on! Yes!
Got it easily.
Right
No dramatics. Now she just needs pin count, 6.
Yeah, a few dramatics out of Carolyn, though.
Yes.
Boy, was that a great shot.
That was an awesome shot. She went right at it. She had good rotation.
Now, once we saw her hit a 6, that was back in the 9th frame. She had 6 and then spared.
But 6 would be enough to wrap it up.
Come on. Closes the door. The three-bagger shuts down Michelle Feldman as Carolyn Doran Ballard hangs on to 4 and climbs the ladder where she will face Anne-Marie Dugan as Michelle Feldman retires in 5th place and $7,000 richer.
Welcome back to the AMF Gold Cup in Richmond, Virginia. We're here to pick the second name in the Bud Frame Hall of Fame tournament. And the second bowler is from Second Bowling Center, Brunswick Dover Rama in Dover, Delaware. We'll be back in a few frames to pick the name. We're ready for the second match. Back to you, Leandra and Jan.
Thank you very much. You're looking at Anne-Marie Dugan and Carolyn Doran Ballard. Anne-Marie is the number 3 qualifier. Told Carolyn she's bowling first. She defeated Michelle Feldman 233 to 228. Feldman finishing with a 6-bagger, but too much, too little, too late. So Carolyn climbs the ladder. You can see she's already defeated Anne-Marie Dugan in match play 226 to 216.